BYU obviously on a 2-game slide heading to Liberty. What to make of that, and where is the mindset of this team? Well, how about we ask a guy who's literally on the front lines of it, and that's the man across from me virtually, Clark Barrington.
You are Locked On Cougars, your daily podcast on the BYU Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jake Hatch, your host here on Locked On Cougars, resident BYU insider. Thank you for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. Always appreciate you guys checking out the show. Our goal here, simply stated, is to make you the smartest BYU fans in the room. And the way we do that is getting you all the information you need to know about, but also bringing you exclusive content like we have every week with BYU team captain and offensive lineman Clark Barrington. Clark, thanks as always for taking the time. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to start here. You're a team captain. You're on the leadership committee for the BYU football program. 2-game slide. There's a lot of pressure out there. A lot of fans that are not happy with where things stand right now for the program. So I'm going to toss this one to you. Where are you guys at as a team?
Yeah. Of course, that wasn't the plan. To start the season. Of course, we want to win every game, and that's our goal. But things happen, and so we're looking inward. Trying to fix the things we can control, and then move forward from there. And so I think that's kind of our focus right now.
Now, Coach Satake spoke in his post-game press conference and also during his media availability on Monday, saying that there are changes. That's the term he uses, changes. Are you at liberty to say what exactly is going on in the program at this time?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know if I'm at liberty to say so. So I'll let Kalani, say whatever he wants to say on that. So.
Okay, fair enough. I figured I was gonna throw it at you, and I let the chips fall where they may. That's It's a question that had to be asked. All right, now with regards to that game against Arkansas, there have been a lot of complaints in the last 3 games before that about the slow starts offensively. But in this game, it was not a slow start offensively. The offense, in particular the passing game, was off like a rocket. You guys were off and flying. Was there a particular reason why you guys got off to such a good start offensively in your mind?
Honestly, I think, like you mentioned, we've been kind of in a rut and starting slow. And so, it's been a big emphasis and a big focus for us on the offensive side of the ball is to come out and start fast and play, the way we can play the whole game. And I feel like we did a good job of that. So.
Now, is there a particular element of, like you said, that offensive performance that you feel like is, I guess, the most replicable?
Honestly, what do you mean by that?
Because I know that the passing game, you guys have been pretty good most of the year, but it seemed like in this past game in particular, you guys, I thought, were about as on point as you've been, at least throwing the football, and especially in the second half. I thought the running game came on strong in the second half. So is there an element that you feel like from this game of one of the successes that you had that you feel like is something you guys can carry over going into Liberty this week and beyond?
Yeah, I think, all the guys just did a good job, of taking what was given to us. And so, in the first half, we might not have had a ton of rushing yards, but it's because we didn't have the chance to run the ball a whole lot. There were lots of RPOs called, and so, they were giving us the pass option and those things. And so they were throwing the ball out there and getting yards that way. And then come out the second half and we ran the ball well when it was called and when it was given to the backs. And so, I don't know. I just think, we played really good complementary football and did the things that we're working at that moment. So.
Obviously, we saw Puka Nacua line up in the backfield in that game. 3 of the top 4 running backs were unavailable in that matchup. can you give me give us, and I'm asking this kind of personally as well, give us an insight as to what makes Puka such just an effective football player in general?
Yeah, he just has a good feel for the game and for what he's doing, and you see him in, for the past couple of years, he'll get those jet sweeps, or we'll throw the ball out to him in the flat, and he'll make a few guys miss. And so, they threw that wrinkle in there to get him in the backfield a little bit more with some of the guys being down this week. And he did a great job when he was back there. So.
Now, we've talked about this on this podcast. I showed you I'm a 49ers fan. I actually got the 49ers hat up above me right here on the YouTube if you guys are watching this. Now, Deebo Samuel plays a multifaceted role for the 49ers. He's a wide receiver. They list him at wide receiver, but he plays a bunch of running back, plays a bunch of seemingly H-back type stuff. They put him everywhere on the football field. Same thing like Christian McCaffrey for the Carolina Panthers. Is that kind of what the coaches have kind of been using Puka as, is kind of just this do everything, and for lack of a better term, just you could probably put his position as football player, FP?
Yeah, for sure. He's a great player, and he makes plays when the ball is in his hands. And so, we're trying all we can, to get the ball in his hands more, and that's the way we're doing it. So.
Now, obviously, the Arkansas game did not go the way you guys expected it to. Kalani said on that fourth down, no play call was called. And Joe, I'm assuming just had a brain fart and snapped that football. Take us through that moment.
Yeah, it sucked. Just like you said, there was no play call, and so the rest of us were not expecting the ball to be snapped. And so, when it did happen, I was pretty frustrated, and a lot of other guys were, but what happened, and we had to move on and keep plugging away and try our best to stay with Arkansas. So.
And I don't think you guys are alone in that frustration, obviously, but I don't know how to say this right. Did Joe explain what happened that caused him to snap that football?
Not really. It's just loss of concentration. Is probably the main thing, and that's about it. So.
Okay, fair enough. I can understand that. Now, obviously, you mentioned the fact that you're hoping to get things turned around, obviously, going to Liberty. Going to be your second East Coast road trip this year. You guys obviously opened the year out there at USF. Now, coming off that game against Arkansas, can you – this is one of my last things on the Arkansas front on this. Can you I guess you've gone through these four, what we called the four big games. In the media, we were talking all offseason long about how you guys had Baylor, Oregon, Notre Dame, Arkansas. They were the quote-unquote big four on your schedule. Right. Can you, lay out, in terms of 1 to 4, if you don't mind, which one was the best team in your mind? Just go down the order. Like, who was 1 to 4 in your mind?
It's really quite hard to say. That they're kind of similar in some aspects, but different in others. And so, I think each of them, they were well balanced with great athletes and players that played hard, and I think they were all equally talented and difficult to play. So.
All right, I've got a little follow-up off of that question we will get to here in just a moment. We do need to take a minute and talk about our friends over at Upside. And Clark, you're familiar with this ad. We've done this for a while here, but from cringing at the pump to getting an eye-popping check at your favorite restaurant, inflation is hitting all of us where it hurts. And folks, it really hurts right now. That's why I started using the Upside app. Upside is that incredible app for anybody who buys gas, groceries, or dines out. With every purchase, I am earning cash back thanks to Upside, and that's what I want you guys to do as well. All you got to do to get started is to download the free Upside app, use my promo code LOCKED, that's LOCKED, and get $5 or more cash back with your first purchase of $10 or more. Next, claim an offer for whatever you're buying on Upside. Check in at that business, pay as usual with a credit or debit card, and you get paid. In comparison to credit card rewards or loyalty programs, you can earn 3 times more cash cash back with Upside. And the best part is Upside users are earning more than $1 million every week. That's probably why they have a 4.8 star rating on the App Store. So download that free Upside app today and use that promo code LOCKED once again, LOCKED, to get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more using the promo code LOCKED with the Get Upside app. Thank you once again for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. Continuing on here with Clark Barrington. And Clark, those 4 games we just talked about, the big 4, all Power 5 programs, all programs that BYU going into next year in 2023 and beyond, they are going to be part of that fraternity. They will be part of the Power 5. So how do you feel like those games have prepared you guys as you look forward? Now, obviously, we don't know what your status is going to be going into next year, nor am I going to ask you that right now. But in terms of as the program moves forward here, do you feel like you guys learned some things and picked up some stuff that's going to help BYU as they get ready for Big 12 play?
I think so. I think we've learned a lot of things, and I think there's been a lot of learning of what we need to become. And that is a more consistent day in and day out team, I think. And I think there's just been, just like you said, a lot of learning opportunity, and we've been able to see that through, both the win and the 3 losses. So
now, is there I guess, can you give me 1 or 2 examples? You said talk about day in and day out consistency. Is there something or some things that you can point to that you learned from those games that are things that, okay, that would help us be more consistent?
It's just the things that I guess we've kind of struggled with all year. I guess every team has their weaknesses and strengths, but just trying to maximize those strengths that we do have, and try to do that every week. Come out and start fast every week. Run the ball like we can every week, and those types of things. Just doing those consistently. So,
all right. So now I'm going to ask you this. Right now, in Clark Barrington's mind, what is BYU's chief strength or strengths?
I would say, as an offense, I think one of our strengths, as a team, is just, what's it called? Oh man, I'm forgetting the word.
Here, honestly,
I know it. Goodness gracious. But it's kind of, here it is, executing, the plays that are called.
Execution, okay.
Yeah, executing, the things we do on the field, and just trying to, put ourselves in those good opportunities, I guess.
Now, when it comes to that type of stuff, you talk about executing and getting yourselves into positive territory, like you said, positive opportunities. That's the term you use, positive opportunities. There have been games that both sides of the football, it feels like, have made those mistakes that have cost you guys in this one. What is being done to rectify that?
I think it's just, taking personal accountability for those things. We all recognize, that these things happen, but being able to own up to those mistakes, both players and coaches and the team as a whole, owning up to those things, fixing those things, and then trying to move on and be better. So.
Now, Kalani has talked a lot about the love and learn. You've mentioned that phrase. It's one of the more oft repeated phrases across the entire team. And by the way, the alliteration, all that, it's fantastic. And I'm in full support of that. But there's been a lot of people who are asking right now, okay, love and learn, great. But accountability is also a factor in play here. So you as a team captain, you're a guy that has to get after some of your teammates at times, I would imagine. You're also on the leadership council. How is accountability factored into the love and learn model?
Yeah, I think, it fits right in with that. The only way you move on and learn from something is if you are accountable for your actions. And so I think that's a big part of the love and learning. Just like as a normal family, you're not always gonna get along with your teammates, and so you're gonna love each other, but sometimes it's tough love. Sometimes you're gonna have to get on them and hold people accountable for the things they're doing, and that's kind of where the accountability plays a big role. Is there's times to just love up on people, but sometimes it's tough love and calling people out and making sure we're being held to the standards that we expect to be held to. So.
Now, you talk about sometimes it is that tough love. Is that as simple as like in game barking at a guy, or is that something you do in the locker room? How do you handle stuff like that?
I think it's something you handle when it comes up,
Okay.
Whether it be in the middle of the game or it's at practice or it's off the field or whatever. I think, just pulling them to the side and be like, hey man, we expect more from you. You know the expectations and so let's live up to those. And that's kind of, just kind of trying to correct or help people out along the way in everything we do. So.
All right. I also want to ask you this. There's a lot of consternation around the defense, and I've watched enough football in my life. I've covered enough football in my life that when one side of the football is having relative success, and I feel like the offense for you guys has actually been very good by and large for the entirety of the season, but the defense has had its struggles. Is there any concern of a quote unquote fracture occurring because of some of the struggles defensively in your mind?
No, of course there's always that fear, right? But I think we're doing a good job of managing the situation and just trying to keep the heads held up high, and there's a lot more of the season left, and we need everybody on the team around to help us accomplish the goals that we have set. And so just push on, move forward, and look to the future, and let's just try to get better as a whole. So,
how well do you know Cody Epps? By the way, this is a random aside.
I know him pretty well. He's a good dude.
Okay, did you hear Did you hear his post game press conference by chance after the Arkansas game?
No, I didn't.
Okay, Cody, and you can fill in any of the gaps that I may miss here, but this is a kid from Mater Dei High School, one of the top high schools in the entire country. His quarterback in high school, for anybody out there who missed this, is Bryce Young. Yes, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. He is a guy, if I'm not mistaken, is not a member of the LDS faith. Came to BYU, fell in love with the university. It was a big recruiting win, honestly, for BYU. But in his post-game press conference, Clark, and I'm gonna butcher his quote, but he said that we're gonna go out tonight. We're gonna hug our family and friends. We're gonna get ready for church tomorrow for those guys that go to church. And then he said at the end of it, he says we're trying to essentially follow how do you say it? A Christ-like model, I guess, is the best. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm butchering everything he said, but the way he said it, it was like, oh my goodness, this is a guy who understands what this program is all about. As a guy who's an outsider, because you and I are members of the LDS faith. You and I are
right.
Missionaries. We're guys that went out and spent 2 years out in the world. You went to Uganda. I went to Taiwan, places that neither of us probably ever thought we'd ever end up stepping foot in.
Right.
But
yeah.
We were talking about the gospel. And for me, frankly, to have Cody Epps come out and say something that profound, it floored me. Honestly, it absolutely floored me. And I feel like, like I said, fill in the gaps here for me here. But it feels like that he almost spoke to exactly what, I guess, the epitome of what BYU football is supposed to be. Because for most people, it is bigger than just football.
Yeah, for sure. Cody's a great example and a great dude, and somebody that gets the culture and the things that are trying to take place. And honestly, he might be one of the most not knowledgeable guys on church history in the locker room. So, he's for sure studied up and learned his information for sure, and always asking questions and whatnot. And so, even though he's not a member of the church, he's big into religion and, of course, just loving God and loving Jesus Christ and everything that comes with that. And he's just a great example, and it's great to have those types of guys on the team for sure.
Okay, when you say not knowledgeable, are we talking like a guy who just didn't know much and was just interested in finding out what's going on, or was it more ignorance?
What do you mean? Sorry, you cut out.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, like, in terms of saying he wasn't all that knowledgeable. That was the terminology that you used with regards to Cody. So was it just the fact that he came to BYU, I guess, not necessarily knowing completely what the LDS Church's like theology was, that type of stuff, and he just tried to kind of catch up to speed on that?
Yeah, since he's been here, he's really taken, kind of learning about the church and its history and all those. Of course, we have to take religious classes and all that, and he takes those things seriously, and he'll come with questions or whatnot, and ask some of the guys on the team about it, and he knows a ton. He knows a ton about our church and its history and its teachings and all of that stuff, and so. He just, he signed the honor code to be here, and he's trying to live, his life in such a way that's, in line with the honor code. And then, he's just a great dude and all around person. So, it's great to have him around for sure.
Yeah, like I said, just the profound nature of what he said, because he's still a young guy. Like, he hasn't been in the program. I know it's third year, stunningly enough, but regardless, I like, it just floored me because, like, okay, I did not expect any of that to come out of Cody Epps' mouth. It was one of those moments you're like, oh, okay, all right, this kid gets it. So
yeah, he's awesome.
All right, so I want to finish up here, and Clark, we'll finish up talking a little bit about Liberty. I do have kind of a fun activity for us here, and it involves the honor code. So this should be fun. I'm interested to see how this goes. We're going to try this out. Like, this could be completely flop, but we're going to give it a shot nonetheless. We'll get to that in a moment. But first, need to talk about our friends over at Nissan. Our partners at Nissan have been working with us to create a new segment across the Locked On College Network titled Thrilling Moments, where we are highlighting the most exciting play from the Cougars weekend game, so against Arkansas this past weekend, or throughout the history of our alma mater. This week's thrilling moment for the Cougars was... Go, Clark.
Oh gosh. There's a few different plays that come to mind, but it's always fun to see Jaron drop a long ball to some of our receivers. And so, I'd say the long touchdown to Puka, that was nice to see that. And then the long one to Cody, see both those guys go in there and score. It's always a good time.
I was going to pick the one to Puka because, stunningly enough, 7 games into the season, that was his first receiving touchdown of the year, Clark. I know he's missed time, but he's your star receiver. He's your number 1 receiver in my book.
Yeah.
And for him to have his first receiving touchdown officially in Game 7, I kind of said, I was like, are you sure about that? And it sure was. It was. Because you think about it, he had the 2 touchdowns against USF, both on the ground. He's had some other ones on those fly sweeps. He even had a fly sweep against Arkansas. He scored on.
Yeah.
So just one of those things. That was the thrilling moment for me because I thought that play design was absolutely awesome. And you got a front row view of that. How cool is stuff like that to see?
Yeah, it's cool. I guess I don't realize, everything that goes into it, when it's happening, but then going off to the side and watching the replay, or even going back and rewatching it as well. It's fun to see those guys break loose like that and go for yards. So,
well, awesome. I love doing this with you, Clark, because you, like you said, you can speak directly to this, but this segment has been inspired by the thrilling new designs featured across Nissan's new lineup of vehicles. Pursue what thrills you in the all-new Frontier Armada or Pathfinder today. It's all available now at nissanusa.com. All right, before we go here with Clark Barrington, obviously this is our 8th edition of the Clark Barrington Show, if I'm not mistaken, Clark, and always appreciate you taking the time. But as we go out the door here, first things first, what do you know about Liberty, and what do you expect as you guys make that cross-country trip this week?
Yeah, they're a great team. They've won a lot this season, and the defensive side of the ball, I can speak to the most just from the film I've watched and stuff like that. It's big bodies, big athletic guys again, and it's not going to be a cakewalk, that's for sure. We got to come prepared, and we got to do our part to prepare and go ready to play well. So.
Now, I actually learned this from their beat reporter on the media session on Monday, and I had to look this up. Liberty is number 2 in sacks as a team and number 2 in tackles for loss as a team on the season. You mentioned the fact that they're 6-1. They've won a bunch of close games, but they are 6-1 regardless. How concerning or not concerning is it that they have racked up that many sacks and TFLs?
Yeah, no, it's always it's always some of the things that we look at, right? And I think they're maybe number one in turnovers or something like that too this season or something like that.
Something to that effect, yeah.
Yeah, so they're up there in all those categories, and so we know that we're going in and it's going to be a grind, and so just we're going to focus on keeping the ball in our hands, ball control and all that, and then of course as O linemen, we're going to focus on the pressures they bring and the blitzes they bring and those packages, and then trying to limit the tackles for loss for sure in the run game. So that's our main focuses this week.
Very cool. All right, so here we go, Clark. We're going to try this out. So BYU is very famous for their honor code. It comes up all the time. Trust me.
Yeah.
I was on 3 different Arkansas podcasts and or radio shows last week, and in every single one of them, Clark, the honor code came up in one form or fashion, a question or two about it. So
okay,
what BYU is well known about. Liberty has its own honor code. Now, I also want to ask you, how familiar are you with the movie Footloose?
Not a whole lot.
Wait, this is going to be awesome then. This is going to be great. Okay, so here's the game. And it's not going to be very long, but we're going to have some fun with this all the same. I am going to ask you if the rule, or I guess the command, I don't know how to describe this. In this honor code, if it's a Liberty honor code issue or if it's from Footloose. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Number 1, dancing banned outright until people challenged it by staging their own party.
Footloose.
You win. Well done. That was the low hanging fruit. Anybody who's watching and or listening to this was hoping that you were going to get that one right.
Yeah.
Footloose was loosely based on a true story of I was in a town in Oklahoma that actually had banned dancing because they believed it would curb excessive drinking of all things. So
okay.
So that's where and Footloose obviously filmed here in the state of Utah. Kevin Bacon, the Lehigh Roller Mills, all that stuff. It's synonymous with the state of Utah in many ways. All right, number 2. Footloose or Liberty honor code. People cannot wear shorts to campus.
Let's go with Liberty honor code.
Correct. According to what I read, Liberty students are not allowed to wear shorts to campus and or in class.
Interesting.
So and here's the thing about this. Saying that, I'm like, well, there's kids up at BYU Idaho who may be watching and saying, hey, that's us.
Yeah, for sure.
Would you be able to survive not wearing shorts, Clark?
I don't know. Be a lot of sweatpants, I guess.
I think you and me both. Shorts are what I live in. Like, trust me, I'm looking at the forecast week by week right now because we had 70-degree days still here in Utah, and it's late October here. I'm loving life because I'm still wearing shorts. Gets down to 50 like it's being projected later this weekend. Okay, the pants may finally have to make their reappearance.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Last thing here. We'll go with one more. You're 2 for 2, Clark. So props to you on this. Now, the final one here. So Footloose or Liberty honor code, R-rated movies and M-rated video games banned.
Let's go with Liberty honor code.
Ding, ding, ding. 3 for 3, Clark. Now, I was reading up on this, and I believe they've actually now kind of loosened the provisions there on that, but there are other stories out there who say that's still in effect. Like R-rated movies, that type of stuff is off limits. So regardless, I'm going to give you the win no matter what, because it's just kind of funny to me that those are the things that there's other things in here in the Liberty Honor Code. Let's see. Curfew policy was changed to permit students age 20 and over to sign out and stay out past curfew. You got to you got to sign like, all right, I promise to do my best to like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So be happy, I guess, in a way, Cougar fans and BYU students out there, that BYU's honor code is not quite as stringent, apparently, as Liberty's is.
Yeah.
So is that fun enough for you, Clark?
That was great.
Okay, well, that's going to do it for us. So big thank you to you as always. Appreciate you doing it and look forward to catching up with you next week, all right?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, there you go. That's Clark. I'm Jake. Thank you for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. Always appreciate you guys checking out the show. Make sure you make your second listen our friends over at the Locked On Big 12 podcast. Josh Neighbors does a great job making sure you're up to speed on everything going on in the Big 12. We'll have plenty of coverage throughout the rest of the week, getting you ready for the Liberty game and anything else that happens in BYU football. Who knows? Maybe Kalani Sitake will make an announcement at some point, but we'll keep you updated on all of that. This has been the Locked On Cougars podcast. See ya.